Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding, and I'm back again with Trader Larry from California. Larry is a repeat performer, of course, here in these interviews. If you've had a chance to watch a few of the previous ones, we try to delve into different topics each time we get together to keep it fresh and to, quite frankly, take the conversation in deeper directions. So the way I see it, trading is an avenue to personal growth, because if you can work through a lot of the challenges that we have as traders just naturally, I think it gives us tools that we can use in other arenas.
In real life, right? Yeah. Personal growth also. Yeah.
We got to talking before we got started here, and you shared with me an impressive statistic that you have recently had a nice little run. Let's start with that. Now, talk to me a little bit about this streak that you had.
18 consecutive profitable trades that ended on Monday. Some luck involved in something like that, but also things you learned from your past, things that we want to talk about, like when I was talking about in October, where how there was a really bad month. But what I do is anytime I always take picture shots or back look strategy, actually information where I can look at, okay, what happened here? What's going on? What did I do wrong? Even when you're winning, you still look at this. So not just talking in your head, actual stuff that you can put on in a paper, or I take photo shots of the market at that time and what happened and what I did wrong. And then you start learning more things. Hey, wait, this is something I didn't pick up before. Even after I've been trading for 17 years, you're still seeing stuff that, hey, I didn't see this after 17 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. And of course, in educational arenas, they always talk about the fact that even just the act of taking the notes solidifies the information in your head. But you're taking it a step further, right? You're not just taking the notes, you're going back and reviewing. So are you like a diligent stats keeper?
Yes. Not just stats, but just, have this theory. And the theory works off some kind of time distortion. I don't want to get too much into it. It can get very complicated. I use that theory, and every time I look at it, it's okay, what happened here? What does the theory need to be? I mean, the theory must have been refined over 1,000 times in the last 17 years. Whatever strategy you use, you could look at it and say, okay, well, how did it work? What I did wrong in that situation? But again, looking at photo shots, whatever record keeping, actual stuff where you can actually review what happened in that instant. So you have a whole load of history in the market that you can utilize.
And I think this starts to open conversations and questions about how you go about doing your review, because yes, you're going to maybe review at the end of the day and see what you did, but do you actually go back and do like a comparative analysis of like multiple trading days or multiple trades in one shot to see more of that pattern? Or do you just kind of take that quick review, that review after each trading day and see, the good, the bad, the indifferent?
Sometimes we do multiple over time, because you want to see anything, thinking like a scientist. A scientist can't just say, oh, well, today I saw something. Wow. You have to look at several observations that you've had. I mean, they say in science that a bunch of consecutive individual subjectivities makes a theory. Everything's subjective. But when you start getting ones that look kind of similar, you start thinking maybe there's something there. So you do have to do what you talked about in the first sense. But I don't have time to actually look back at every single day, but I try to at least look back at what happened during the day. But I do focus more on that first part where you're trying to see over time different things that were there.
Look, trading is all pattern recognition, but that doesn't just mean the charts. And I think that this is a great example of taking that to a whole other level. We as traders, we know we're supposed to keep stats. We know we're supposed to review our trades. We know we're supposed to journal. We know, like, all of the things that, quite frankly, are tougher and not necessarily as much fun, if you will. Some people find it fun to be in the charts and looking for that opportunity, that trade opportunity. I think that discipline and that commitment to the act of let's screenshot every trade, let's see where we are, let's have something that we can review, and let's look for patterns, not so much in just the chart pattern, but in my actions and my behavior and the way I execute or the way I take a particular read of the market. This doesn't happen overnight. You said, as you said, you've been at this for 17 years. At what point in your trading career do you feel like you got into actually taking this extra step? Did you do this early on, or is this relatively new?
I wouldn't say early on. The theory had been modified in many different. Early on, it doesn't even resemble what it was 17 years ago. Maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, really started taking a look at things and slowly started building more and more success over time. But this is my first year actually where it was been really successful. I would say 16 years. I never took big losses. That was always my thing, because I try to avoid that. Even when I was losing, make sure you do not take big. If you take 2 losses, just take your break. So it wasn't like 16 years continuous. There were breaks of study where I just sit down for sometimes months straight looking at things that I saw in the past, trying to formulate theories from that, and then going back and testing that theory sometimes on paper if you're not ready, and then eventually in real time, real money, and just going through that process over and over and over again.
I love the professional approach to trading. And again, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of the charts and neglect the fact that this is a business. And if we want it to succeed like a high-end business, we of course need to treat it like a high-end business, which means doing all of the things that maybe aren't as much fun, as exciting, and maybe, you know, a little bit of that drudgery of...
Me being a scientist, it's a little fun for me, I'll admit, but I could see
and I'm going to say, Dr. Larry, I know this comes a little more naturally, I think, to you than maybe it does to some of us, or maybe not naturally, but you've studied down this path, and I think it gives you at least the realization that this is a path that you want to take. But here you are on the other side of spending a year doing this, and the results are unmistakable and undeniable. We talked about an 18 trade winning streak, and you did have that break of the streak on Monday, and I have the benefit of hindsight because we talked about this beforehand, but for the record, did you lose several days worth of profits on that one loss, or how did that loss actually look for you?
$50. You know, one thing with experience is when you recognize you made an error, you don't wait and say, oh, no, let me see the gold back up. You're done. You just go get to the next trade. You know, that's, I think what I remember when them several years ago when I like, oh, it's going down. No, maybe it's going to go back up. Then you lose more than you expect. If you think, I mean, there's some instinct involved, I think, in that, like something's wrong, something's not right. Don't be afraid when it's like, you know, you're lost, take that loss and move on.
And I think success, particularly in something like trading, does a lot of times come down to perspective, because basically when we're in the same situation that you're in, we have two ways that we can look at this. We can say, I'm on an 18 trade winning streak. Statistically speaking, if I just go ahead and end this one, cut it, take my stop and move forward, I'm going to recover out of this blip in the radar pretty quickly. Or we can say, I'm on a roll. I can't let this thing die, and I'm going to let this thing continue on until it goes back into profit, which is not necessarily a guarantee of any sort, right?
Yeah, it would, and I did that, we would be talking a big loss. Okay, so
right. So ultimately, I think it's a testament to your discipline. We can take the same scenario and we can look at it very, very differently. But I know for me, when I'm making a mistake, and I'm not talking about taking a trade that's a loss, because I can do everything right and I can take a losing trade. That's just the nature of trading. But there are those moments where I know I'm making a mistake, and in my head I'm saying, why are you doing this, Gates? You shouldn't do this. You know you shouldn't do it, and yet here I am hitting the button. And I think that when you start to develop that discipline that goes beyond just taking the trades and looking at the charts, I think that discipline follows through to other aspects of your trading and of your continued growth and success. And so to me, it's no surprise that it was a minor loss on your way back to another, hopefully 18 or more winning streak. But
we only got 3 right now. But remember, the point is not to have consecutive winning streaks, it's to make money. That's why you talked about 18 and you're like, oh, I don't want to lose this one. It's like, it's not about 18 consecutive winning streaks. It's about making sure you're going on a steady profit up, you know?
But we're all emotional creatures, and we have a tendency to make emotional decisions in moments like that. And so being able to pull away from that is an example of the many things that you're doing, not just one, but the many things that you're doing that have contributed to your success this year. I, for one, love having these conversations with you because I certainly take something out of it every single time. Quite frankly, I can't wait until the next one because I know we're going to have more to talk about and more depth that we're going to go into. But we'll save that one for another day.
Yeah.
Man, Larry, thank you so much for sharing some continued insight with us. And I mean it. I look forward to the next one. I know that we'll have one here probably pretty soon.
Me too.
We will chat with you soon. Keep everything green, and don't let those little blips get you. Thanks, Larry. We'll chat with you soon, man.
Will do.